My favorite thing to do, outside of talking's probably number one. My second favorite thing to do is speculate about golf. I just love doing that.
I would have put that at third.
And with the Ryder Cup on our doorstep, I made some graphics for the people, but also for you. And I'm very excited about this because
All right, go ahead.
I think that when you're looking ahead at the Ryder Cup and you're trying to figure out who should and shouldn't be a captain's pick, I think that when you look at everybody on a list and you take away all the numbers and you take away all the names, I think things stand out.
Okay.
And I think when the dust settles, you look at yourself and you go, oh, I think it should be these two. And
all right, you brought us in now. Yeah, that's okay. Good introduction. Let's get to these graphics that you're bragging about. You're all excited about it.
All right, so here's what I did. Show me the first one. We've got 3 or 4 layers of this. So I've got players
this is like your game show.
Yes. So I have 9 players for you, Matt, and for the people to look at here. 9 different players. You don't know who they are. You have no idea where they are in the standings. I mixed them up. And this is what I did. For 2025, how many top 10s did they have? How many wins did they have? What was their scoring average? And the next line you see is what was their strongest strokes gained category? So in other words, when you're looking at that list, what is this player's strength? What's their best strength? And then underneath that, for each player, I've got their experience. Have they played in a Ryder Cup? Have they played in a President's Cup? Do they have any major championships? And how many times have they won on the PGA Tour? So there is players A, B, and 3 right there, Matt. That's our first 3 people. And if you're watching on YouTube especially, please comment. When you're looking at player A, B, and C, just write in right away. You're looking at this group. Who's the person from this group that you're most excited about? And why?
You know what? Is that something you've put out there for the people to weigh in on?
Well, the question I have for the day is a little different. Okay. But I'm just saying, in general, what I want you to do is pick a person from each category. Who's the person you want in each category? And then we're going to put those 3 up against each other.
You're going to pick so you want people to pick someone from this page?
I have groups of 3. This is not complicated. What am I explaining the game show here? I'm trying to talk.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I know talking's number 1 for me, but player A, B, and C, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you 3 groups of 3. So 9 players, unidentified.
Got it.
I want everybody, including you, to pick a player from each group. So here's group 1, 3 players. Look at all the stuff I got there, and then you tell me, Matt, who are you most intrigued by on this group?
Well, let me just say one thing. I know you've been working hard on this thing, and I suspect you didn't hear a word any of our guests said today, but I will. There's one category that you didn't put in here, and that is.
I don't care about that. Go off what I'm doing, please. I'm not going to do more research. I've been doing this for a long time. Just pick a player.
I was just going to say I'd like to know what their last 5 events have been, because I think when you're talking about
I don't care about that. I care about that graphic. Does it? See, this is annoying. Hold on a second. This is irritating. If you're saying that recent form is all that matters, then what the hell do we care about all those graphics? What does it matter?
Well, that manner of speaking, Dom, is called transference. I never said it's all that matters, but it's an important consideration. Of those 3 players that you had up there, the player A has a win this year. Player A has 5 top 10s. Player A has a better scoring average than the player C, who has similar credentials to this point. And player A is 4th in strokes gained tee to green. Player C is 59th. Now, I'm not sure how you chose the attributes of what they're doing between them. And then player A also has 8 PGA Tour wins. Player A has a major championship to their credit. Player A has been on 2 Ryder Cup teams and 2 President's Cup teams. So based upon my opinion, based upon the 3 players that are laid out before me, I would have to go with player A.
Okay, player A. I've made a note. Andrew, next graphic. All right. D, E, and F. Have a look, see. What do we think?
Let's see.
I'm going to let Matt read through this, and I'm going to read it to the people as he's reading through it. So you've got player D, who's got a win this year. You got 4 top 10s. Player E has no wins and 3 top 10s. Player F has a win in 5 top 10s. And you look at the strokes gained categories that there is their big strength on the bottom there. Player E is 10th in strokes gained total. Player F is 6th in strokes gained putting. And then if you look at the experience there, ironically, I think the strength of D and F, statistically, they look stronger. But player E in the middle there has got a lot more experience, more wins, Ryder Cups, President's Cups. If you're taking player D or F, which are stronger statistically, and you can make a stronger argument for them this year, those 2 players essentially have very little experience, if any.
Yeah, again, where you were mocking me for what I was saying in terms of current form, it would play into those top 10s. When did those top 10s take place? The more recent, the more valuable is. Top 10 should be a top 10, should be a top 10, right? But no, it's more valuable when it gets closer to the Ryder Cup because it shows current form. Player F is 130th in scoring average, which is frightening, but 6th in strokes gained putting. And 6th in strokes gained putting is really important when we're talking about a Ryder Cup. So I'm split between player E and player F in this regard, but I think I'm going to take a flyer because of that incredibly strong performance in that one area and say player F.
Okay, player F. Got it. Andrew, next crop. G, H, and I. So I'll do the same thing here while Matt can look this over a little bit, and you people watching can do the same. Player G's got no wins this year, 4 top 10s. Player H, no wins, 5 top 10s. Player I has a win and 3 top 10s. And you can see there the strengths of each player on the bottom with their strokes gained numbers and where that's sort of their best, right? So player H is 19th in strokes gained tee to green, and player I is 7th in strokes gained tee to green. But Matt was just talking about the last player he chose. Player F was so good at strokes gained putting. Player G is 3rd in strokes gained putting on the PGA Tour, which I would think would have some pretty heavy value. And then there you see the experience on the bottom. The player in the middle, who's statistically the least impressive, has a major championship to their credit and a nice collection of wins there. And player G has got some experience in the cups and 5 wins, but again, no majors there. And then player I is obviously the least experienced of the group. But again, statistically is relatively strong. I think personally, Matt, this crop of players is the most difficult to select from. I think you could make a very reasonable argument for all 3 of these players.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The player I has a win this year, and I think wins this year matter. Again, when that win came would have been good information, but I realized why you didn't put down when a player had a win because it would identify the player pretty quickly. So based upon the 4 top 10s, based upon the 2 categories that we're able to see a tiny glimpse of performance in 3rd in strokes gained putting, 5 PGA Tour wins overall shows that this player can compete in the heat and has represented the United States on 3 various teams. I'm going to have to go with player G.
So you're player G. All right, Andrew, I want you to make a graphic with A, F, and G. Put those 3 in there. You can come back to us while you're doing that. So put Matt's 3 choices up on that in one single graphic for me, so we can look at the 3 players that he selected. One of my thoughts while Andrew's building that, and it was the question of the day, is do you think that one of the captain's picks is going to come out of the PGA Tour playoffs exclusively? Do you think that one of the picks is just going to be a player who plays amazing this week in Memphis and then plays really good at the BMW and or wins, and that person's on the team regardless of everything else we're talking about and wherever the hell they are in the standings?
Are you asking me that, or are you telling me what the people have said?
I can do both. You want to know what the people said? I can tell you that too, but I'm asking you. Do you think a player's just going to come out of the playoffs,
No.
regardless of all the crap we're talking about?
No, not unless that player,
okay.
for example, like Cameron Young, who won last week, if he has to win at least one more time, I think, to get anybody's attention, and then he has to play extremely well in the other two events. So it's possible, but in terms of weighing the averages of possibility, no.
Okay. The people say yes. 72% of them say yes, which has something to do with the hey, recent form matters a lot type situation. Which
Well,
is
it comes down to it'd be a different question if you said, do you want to see this happen? Because I think recent form is critically important. I think we tend, as a team, I think the U.S. team has tended to ignore it. Most recently with Keegan Bradley as an example, and there's been many examples. Billy Horschel over the et cetera, et cetera. There's been a lot of examples of it where it happens right before our eyes, and we go, no, we kind of have our position set, and we've kind of got this old boys club type of mentality where we like to put players together because they like each other, and it just hasn't worked. So I would like different question to say, would you like to see this happen? But the question wasn't that. The question was, will this take place? And the odds are against it.
Okay. Andrew, I put that in there. These are the 3 picks, if you will, that now hold on. Before you load in who those players are, I made, if I'm being honest, I made a bit of a leap here. I assumed that 7, 8, and 9 in the current Ryder Cup standings will be on the team. And those 3 players currently are Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, and Ben Griffin. I did not put them in these 9 players. I assume they will make the team. I stick by that. I do think they're all locks for the team. So I am talking about, this is where I stand. I believe there really are only 3 captain's picks. I think those 3 players I just mentioned are a lock. So I think these 3 players that you picked, Matt, from a crop of 9 are like, that we're only going to have 3 picks. So what I think is going to be interesting here, Matt, before we reveal these players' names, is their spot in the standings and how the standings, I think, are strange because they don't necessarily meet the expectations when you do what we're doing. When you're looking at all the variables and you think this is going to be the person, this is the best fit, they're not where they are. They're not where you think they are on the standings. So, Andrew, why don't you go ahead and reveal now those 3 players and
well,
who they are.
Hold on one second. Before you reveal it,
let me just... Too late.
Yeah, it was too late. I thought Keegan Bradley was. I wanted to have a chance to kind of run
Keegan
through
Bradley,
this,
Cam Young, and Sam Burns. Now, for the record, interestingly, Cameron Young and Sam Burns are number 15 and number 16 in the current Ryder Cup standings. So here are some names that we are not on this list who are in front of these players. Maverick McNeely, Brian Harman, Andrew Novak, Patrick Cantlay. These are all players we skipped over to pick these players, or for you to pick these players. So here's Andrew put the names in all the graphics now, as you can see who's who. But I just thought this was a very interesting exercise, Matt.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fascinating, to tell you the truth. And as we were talking about, there's time left for these players to prove themselves. And to your point of, can it come from someone that does something over the next few weeks? I think it means something. I agree with you that Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin are pretty much locks. That's 7, 8, and 9 on the list. Keegan Bradley is number 10 on the list. And I think right now he's somewhere between 70 to 80% a lock. So that leaves 2 spots. And the people that are currently in those spots, being 11 and 12 is what I mean by that, Maverick McNeely and Brian Harman. I think if both of those show a real serious performance in these next couple of weeks, I'm talking about at least top 5s, probably a win, then I think they're going to secure themselves. I think Andrew Novak, who's 13th, would have to go win and another top 3. Patrick Cantlay, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure to pick Patrick Cantlay. just full stop. There's going to be pressure to pick Patrick Cantlay because he's best friends with Xander, et cetera, et cetera. Don't be surprised if Patrick didn't work his way in there. Cameron Young spoke in his sound about kind of being on the Ryder Cup radar. I think he has work to do. Sam Burns, who is 16th, has Ryder Cup experience. He's great in putting, but his performance has been kind of in a flash so far this year. So I think we have to see from Sam Burns.
Can you, Andrew? Can you put up the last of the three graphics? Player I. Put that up. Chris Gotterup is very interesting because you were leaning heavily on how have they been playing recently, and his scoring average is 4th over the duration of the season. So he's been consistently excellent, but all of a sudden at the tail end of the season, he's got a win, and he's piling up top 10s literally in the last 2 months.
He does.
So
but Dom,
I think he's an interesting case study.
But he's too far back. There's too much traffic in front of him. He's 20th on the points. That means that for the majority of the year, he hasn't been consistent enough. Did he find something? Prove it over the next few weeks. And again, it's got to be like a win and, top 3 finishes, top 2 finishes, or 2 wins. That goes back to your question you asked people today. Will it come from this group? It's unlikely, but it is different question. Do you think it's possible? Is it something that you want to see? Chris Gotterup is a great choice since the Scottish Open, which he wins in a co-sanctioned event. Everybody would love to see him make the team, but he's had an opportunity to get himself higher in the points and hasn't because he's lacked consistency. But he does have the other half of the formula, which is current form. He's got to show current form in the couple events that he has left. There's not a lot of time left to prove oneself. But is there anything else you needed to go over today?
Yeah, I just had one final comment that I thought was interesting based on the graphics that we put together. Remember the strength, that category that I put their strength, what was their best strength? I find it interesting that of the 9 possible players, none of them are great, if you will, at driving or ball striking. That is not a strength of any of the 9 players. And that kind of concerns me a little bit. You got a couple guys in there that are fantastic putters. But
true,
all those players' driving numbers are their strokes gained approach numbers are They're just
But Dom, what you have to do with that is you have to look at the rest of your team. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, J.J. Spahn, Russell Henley, Bryson DeChambeau, Harris English. Again, if you got these guys grandfathered in, Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, and you have to look at them in terms of their ball striking ability and look at the other guys and go, well, what are their attributes? Some of them are putting, some of them are length. You're going to because it's a U.S. Ryder Cup, we expect that the rough is going to be cut down and the driving areas are going to be widened out. So there can be a balance to that. That's part of all the things that they are going to do in terms of the strategy.